Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
Good. I got a 2-5 hand for you from the WinStar in Oklahoma.
Okay, 2-5 WinStar. I have been there before, and I know that that is the closest sort of legal place. Or I guess they have these card clubs in Texas now, though, too, right? But
Yeah, they have
closest
these
casinos.
legal poker rooms, but it's not really large like the WinStar is or the Choctaw. So I don't think a huge player pool goes there. And it's kind of weird where I think you have to give people an initial fee to join or whatever, and it's all rake free or whatnot. But there's still kind of like a gray area there on whether or not they're quote legal. So anyway, most people go to the WinStar.
Okay, so what's the cap in this game?
500.
Oh, it's a 500, so 2-5, 500 cap. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also run a 5-5 1K cap, but that's not this hand. So.
Okay, go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, so I'm under the gun. I raise 20 with Ace of Clubs, King of Spades, and MP1 calls and hijack calls.
MP1 calls. How deep are you guys?
I'm the effective stack of 350.
So you're pretty short.
Yeah,
Okay, so Ace
I
King.
played one hand before this where I bet flop or raise pre, bet flop, bet turn, and then had to check fold river. So
Okay,
down to 350.
got it.
So the hijack's the main villain here. He's a loose, splashy player. He's an older guy and probably in his like 50s, late 50s range.
Okay,
And like I said, he's really loose with his pre-flop range. I've seen him limp call raises with suited two gappers, suited one gappers, sometimes non-suited one gappers, connectors, ace five off, ace queen off. He's super wide.
okay.
So after the drop, the pot's about 65.
hmm
The flop comes ace of spades, two of clubs, three of clubs. So I decided to lead for about half pot of 35.
Okay.
It's pretty connected. I've been playing with the 1/3 bet size, but I just didn't think it was good to do that here.
Well, I mean, in
Um,
multi-way pots, it's close because you can use a really small sizing and then sort of size up on the turn. But in capped games, obviously I'm going to bet. You have the king. You have the ace of clubs in your hand as well, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you bet 35.
Yeah. MP1 folds, and then the main villain hijack, he calls.
Okay.
So pot's around 135, I think.
Okay.
Turns pretty much a brick, seven hearts. I lead for 85. I thought about going larger, like 95 or maybe even like 100 range.
hmm
Or maybe even overbetting. I've been, watching some of those Rob Farha videos where he talks about sizing up on the turn or overbetting on the turn. But I just kind of felt I'm so short that 85 I felt would get a call. I could definitely get that second street from an ace jack or an ace 10 where I might not get that third street. So I don't know if max value is probably better here or what your thoughts were on that.
Well, I mean, I could go a number of different ways. I mean, the fact that the guy called last to act is a little bit different than like next to act because you have an interesting stack size where if you bet 85 and the guy calls, the pot's going to be like right around 280 and it looks like you're going to have like maybe like 240 left. So you still have a significant and probably large bet, but you could even kind of experiment sometimes in these spots where you've got like two pot size bets left moving to the turn, especially if the next to act guy called, you might even check raise. What I mean is if you bet flop and the next to act called and the other guy folded, you could check raise the turn, like min check raise, because he's going to bet off all his aces. And, you know, a lot of people will stab their draws anyways. It's just something to think about. Closing the
Yeah.
action, this guy is kind of wide, but I could, you're definitely going to go for stack. So it's just a question of, how do you get the most amount of money? And so just keep that in mind sometimes in these spots. But okay, so you bet 85.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And, he thinks about it for a few seconds
hmm
and he decides to call. So the pot's now around like 300, 305, something
Okay.
like that. And I have about 175 left or close to 200.
Okay.
River's five of diamonds. So this is interesting because it brings a one-liner to a straight.
Yep. hmm
And I thought if he has like ace 10, ace jack, ace queen, he's going to check pretty
Sure.
often if I check. So I didn't want it to go check. So then I started thinking, well, what fours could he have in his range? And I started thinking, well, if he's got 4-5, he had me be on the flop.
Right.
If he has 6-4, I don't see a random 6-4, so 6-4 clubs. He really could have ace-4 or some type of like offsuit or suited combination.
Right.
But there's still not a ton of those combos. So I just kind of felt like he has more combos of like ace queen or less in his range.
I mean, here's the thing. So,
Um,
you get into these spots a lot, right? Like I said, he's closing the action, so he's a little bit wider than what he would
mhm.
be. If the math is right and you've got 170 and the pot's 305, yes, it's a one-liner to a four. And obviously, he could have three combos of like ace four. You now lose to ace five, ace seven, slow played hands that might, there's going to be a frequency of slow play at some point. But when these guys are calling with like ace 10, ace jack, ace queen, ace king, I mean, it's really sort of close because you got like a half pot size bet left. To be honest with you, I actually like just a shove because I don't, if people are going to say, oh, he's going to fold ace jack, ace queen, ace 10 if you shove, I don't buy it from what I've seen, and I've been playing 5-5 because you get into these spots where no one else in your position is going to bet ace king. So these guys will just call with an ace because they think you've missed a club draw. You've got the ace of clubs, so we can't have the nut flush draw. Do you see what I'm saying? Like these spots
Yeah,
become like these guys think you're more polarized than you actually are because this is a bet. If this guy is that wide and he might even be calling with like any ace X off, you are ahead here and you're going to get called. The issue is that, well, could you bet like 100? You're going to call off anyway. So, you know, betting between 100 and 170 all in is fine. I would bet all in here if I was playing 5-5 at the bike, which, obviously I've been doing that once a week.
right.
So what did you do?
Okay. That's what I did. I
Okay.
moved in for my last 175, and
Mhm.
he snap called with 6-4 clubs.
But again, I mean, that's just one, obviously
Yeah,
one combination of hand, but I don't think that you did anything wrong, and I would play it the same way. I really
okay.
don't think you did anything wrong. Some people will say, oh, that's too thin to do that, but there's just not, like you said, there's really just not that many fours here. 4-5 and 4-6 and ace four of clubs, right? Well, he can't
Yep.
have ace four of clubs, right? Because you got the ace of clubs. So 4-5
Or
and
offer just ace 4 suited free.
yeah, I mean, okay, maybe a guy's calling with like queen four of clubs, king four of clubs, whatever. But if he's calling that wide, he's calling with ace 10 off plus, and he's gonna call. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's kind of what went through my brain. Yep.
Yeah. No, I have no problem with the way that you played it, and there's gonna be variance, obviously, in your river value betting. But I appreciate it. Thanks
Yeah.
for the call. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.